Everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
You got the mail for the same link, right? For the
Yeah,
today class,
the
there
link
was
was
another
in the,
link, right?
yeah, in the group it was.
Okay, okay. I got that. No. What's the knowledge, right? So I have shared one PPT in your group. You guys got that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one more PPT that I have explained yesterday.
Visuals.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
share it, that one too. And Vasudha, you have joined yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
What?
Okay. So do one thing. You just go with the previous like classes videos that you may you will got that one or you have already got that one. So see those things. So we don't discuss many more things, but we have already discussed few questions and how to write the answer of it. The basics of the technical things that we have discussed, like exposure, triangle, and depth of field, and at all. So if you feel any like if you got any confusion, you can ask me. So if you have any doubt, just write it down and mail me. So I will just explain it to you because we have already conducted those classes. So
Yes,
other
sir,
things.
definitely. Also, sir, the activities you have given in those classes, can I do those and share those with you too?
Yeah, sure. The 3 or 4 activities that I have already said in group. That was the rule of third, the contrast, and yesterday that I have given is uh, rhythm, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, other things. People are not checking their
Sir,
mail. Yeah,
sorry, yesterday we have discussed about the concepts of that conceptual tool of cinematography, and
yeah,
the second PPT we have discussed that visuals, that rhythm, like that
yeah.
things.
Visual components,
So,
basically. Visual components. Yeah,
uh, so the visual components are will comes under the composition. While
yeah.
composing, we
Obviously,
should
that's the types of composition. In your composition, when you are framing anything,
yeah,
or
that's what
you,
I'm asking.
yeah.
That already there are rule of third and that golden ratio and the line, like that. There are some composition types. So will these components also will place in this order, or this these are the using these components we should form this
Look,
composition
there is a
types.
many kind of compositions and their names, right? So don't go with that. Whatever the basic principle for the composition is, that the rule of third, golden section rule, or like line shape, right? In that one, if a broader aspect, if you think about the broader aspect, in that one we are talking about those aspects. Okay, how to compose those things, because those are the very basics. When once you started doing photography, at that point of time, in the rule of third is and that mm, perspective and many more things is over there. And this also fall in the category of composition that's called the elements of design. Once you design something within the frame, or to compose it, and then there is a certain rules. So if you follow those rules, at least you got a good in terms of composition. When you compose anything, you should know that which kind of composition that you are doing, right? So suppose for an example, you didn't learn those things. Many things that we have already done. Basically, suppose yesterday I was giving example for fixing the frame in your house, or I think either putting your books and your copies in your rack. In which manner you fix it? कैसे fix करते हो? You are giving the proper breathing space to every books to copies, right? If you are fixing any photograph or any frame in your wall, you make it rhythmic, right? So those things already you know the composition. So there's a many aspect when you are composing anything, right? So that's two or three or four things that we have discussed yesterday, but there's many more things on which you guys can photograph, just find out the topics. And because if every topics I will discuss, so there's no many more classes, so it will take too much time to explain each and every compositions. So the basic rule of composition, that is your line, you can say that the perspective, rule of third, contrast that we have already discussed. In contrast, there is a many aspect of contrast. I told you on that day, it's not only about the colors. There's a psychological contrast, right? There's a contrast between shape, right? So in contrast also there is certain variations, you know. So but once we discuss the contrast, आपने एक बार capture किया, don't get it with that कि एक बार हो गया and it's done now. So just find out the things, because we don't have that much of time कि हम एक एक part को discuss करें. So overall, if you have the knowledge of it, you can compose it every day. You just compose anything, and if you compose anything within the frame, there is certain the composition rules, and you have to find out which rules you are applying, right? So that's the thing. So that's also in terms of elements of design, those also comes fall in the category of compositions, right? The types of compositions, right? So I think a few people joined, so yeah. That already I have discussed on lighting, right? He, I think, before previously we have discussed the 3-point lighting and a lighting, right? So types of lighting, the quality of light, and the what we have discussed. We have discussed about light, right? Aspects of lighting we have discussed, right, Gautam?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Aspects of lighting, yeah. So now the question is, maybe this kind of questions can comes because 3-point lighting ke bare mein already they have asked. So maybe there is a question like that: what are the goals of good lighting, right? If someone asks you what is good lighting, and if maybe someone asks you what is good composition, right? Or what is when you are talking about the photograph is very good or photograph is good, what it is means, how you decided this one is good. एक फोटोग्राफ को आप अच्छा करते हो, what elements within the photograph should be, क्या होना चाहिए फोटोग्राफ में, कि आप कह सकते हो कि the basic elements that must be in photograph, you can say that yeah, this one is good, क्या होना चाहिए? If there is a question, कि anyone have answer?
So maybe it should have a subject firstly, what you are photographing, and it should follow the rules of composition. Other than that, it should be clear, so like good lighting, obviously. And yeah, I think.
So when you are saying it's a good composition, there will be something that you compose, right? So it's for the composition. So once someone asks you what is and what is good, basically, so any photograph, there must be three things. There must be three things to say that yeah, it's just a good. The first thing's your exposure. It should be properly exposed. It's not totally dark. It's not overexposed. So first thing, the basic elements is should be exposed. Second one is the composed. Your image is well composed. Either any composition rules that you are applying, it should be completely, the composed image. So second one is your composition. First one is your exposure. And third one is your focus only. कि आपका इमेज कंपोजिशन बहुत अच्छा है, द लाइटिंग बहुत अच्छी है, बट योर इमेज इन द सेंस योर सेंटर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज इन out of focus or soft focus is there, so it means it's not a good photograph. To consider any photograph that this is a good, before analyzing anything, either in terms of composition and the depth and the sense, whatever you are making through your photographs or whatever story you are telling through your photographs, the first things that comes in anyone's mind is three things. अगर ये तीन चीजें आपके इमेज में हैं, तो आपका इमेज आप कह सकते हैं हाँ ये इमेज अच्छा है. दैट इज योर एक्सपोजर, योर like focus and your composition. So just like that, कि when you are explaining कि what are the goals of good lighting, कि आप अगर good light कहते हैं और good light achieve करना है कि ये lighting कैसे हो सकती है, तो what should be inside the when you are doing lighting, कि क्या क्या एलिमेंट्स हैं जिसके ऊपर आप डिस्कस कर सकते हैं और क्या क्या एलिमेंट्स हैं जिसको आप अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. The first things is a full range of tones and gradation of tones. मीन्स वेरी सिंपल, जैसे हम हिस्टोग्राम में बात कर रहे थे फॉर द हिस्टोग्राम, इफ एवरीथिंग विल फॉल इन द राइट हैंड साइड, it means it's totally brighter area, there is no contrast. So a full range of tones means what? In terms of colors also, in terms of lighting also, there will be the gradation, right? Gradation in the sense from dark to highlight, so there's a gradation, it creates certain depth. If your image is totally like darker side or either in the lighter side, right, what happened, it's look very flat, right? So there should be the gradation, और gradation हम इसको अभी ग्रे स्केल पे समझेंगे और फिर कलर में भी इसे हम करेंगे. सेकेंड वन इज योर कलर कंट्रोल एंड बैलेंस्ड. कलर कंट्रोल मीन्स कि आपके इमेज में और वॉट एवर यू आर शूटिंग ओवर देयर, कि थ्रू द लाइटिंग यू मस्ट हैव टू कंट्रोल द कलर्स. या ब्लू लाइट ही दे रहे तो हाउ मच इट शुड बी, या वार्म कर रहे तो हाउ मच इट शुड बी, कि बहुत एक्सेस नहीं हो जाना चाहिए. सो देयर विल सर्टेन लिमिटेशंस ऑफ इट, कि हाउ मच यू वांटेड टू यूज, राइट. Third things, through the lighting you have to create shape and dimension in the individual subject. How you created the shape. Once you are capturing, if you guys have seen your passport size photograph, it's not creating certain shape. Have you seen that कि उसमें कुछ shape create होता है certain सा? नहीं होता है. It's look very flat. So that's the another goal of lighting. When you are doing lighting, you have to create a shape, right? और वो shape gradation से ही आएगा through the lighting. The fourth one is your separation. It means your character should not merging in the background. So there's a separation. So your character should stand out against the background. Depth and dimension in the frame. Obviously, because we are watching those all these things, whatever you are recording, is the two-dimensional. So create the illusion of depth. You have to create it through the lighting. Just like for an example, we have already discussed in 3-point lighting why we use third light to create a depth to say, right? So depth kaise creates through the quicker light, or you just put something in the background, so that creates a certain sense of depth. Again, there's a texture. Through the lighting, you can create a texture. Mood and tone, emotional content. Which kind of light they are using, how that light depict the mood. You know, through the lighting, how you just create that particular, right, you can say that कि mood कैसे convey कर सकते हो certain emotional kind of things, या बहुत आप happy हो, right? So do you feel that कि अगर कहीं पर suppose करो किसी घर में कुछ ऐसे functions हैं, कुछ ऐसा, just for an example, do you feel कि वहां पर Godfather वाली lighting होगी? It's very simple. When you are celebrating anything, that time which kind of lighting at your house, कैसी light होती है?
Festive, colorful, bright.
Colorful, right? So look, they're very joyful, right? Up this certainly you just come with the hospital में चले जाओ. Which kind of light is there? Very cool and calm light is there, right? Now bring that light, or bring that lighting setup in factory, any factory, whether labor is working over there. Do you feel that light will work, or that light will convey the mood of that factory? करेगा नहीं. You need what? Very hard light. That light is penetrating, right? Very brighter light. That kind of things is there, right? That create a certain mood. अब hospital वाली light उठा के pub में जाके लगा दो. It will create the mood of pub. पार्टी का कुछ निकालेगा आपका? कोई मूड क्रिएट करेगा? नहीं करेगा, राइट? So through the lighting, which kind of mood a particular scene have, you have to create through the lighting. कि sad है तो कैसा होगा, mysterious है तो which kind of lighting it is, right? बहुत happily है तो कैसा होगा, right? अब रोम कॉम फिल्म में देखो उसमें कैसी लाइटिंग होती है, कोई डार्क जॉनर की फिल्म देखो, which kind of lighting is there. So basically to depict that mood through the lighting, you have to create it. So that's the goal of good lighting. And the one thing again is it's very simple. You are doing lighting to get perfect exposure. So these are the elements when you are doing lighting, or either you are explaining the lighting. What are the goals of good lighting? These points will be there. Maybe there is a another points you can figure it out. But what are the points that we will discuss now? Okay, we want an image to have a full range of tones from black to white. Tonal range is always discussed in terms of grayscale without regard the color. An image that has a broad range of tones with subtle gradation all along the way is going to be more pleasing to the eye, more realistic, and have more impact. To make sure that your camera setup will allow you to capture a full range of tones in your image, this means that your black will be truly black and your white truly white, and also that there is a smooth transition throughout the grayscale range with every nuance of gray tone represented. Now see this one. Now see the whole gradation from pitch black to pure white, right? It's not started from the black and and with the white. There is a certain gradation within it. So in your composition, once you are doing lighting, आपको करना ये है कि आप एक जगह ऐसा नहीं कर सकते just make the very brighter areas and very darker areas, right? So you have to manipulate those things. If you guys have watched Roma, in every scene you can feel this gradation. In certain scene there will be the highlight, so at same point of time there is a mid-tone too, there is a shadows area too, there's a black areas too. So whole zone within a frame, if you watch that film properly, just see it on monitor, the bigger monitor, not in phone, and you feel that अभी जो gradation दिख रहा है यही gradation ऐसा ही आपको within a frame, any frames, या उसके छत वाले सीन ले लो, या वो जो कॉरिडोर वाले सीन है वो देख लो आप लोग, अगर if you guys have watched that films, so you can see those elements, you can see the gradation. Gradation से होता क्या है कि it will it will create a certain depth within your image, right? If there is a gradation, people will watch those things. If there's only highlights and shadows, at once you recognize it. So that's the one thing. Once you are doing lighting, there should be whole range within the frame, from pure black to pure white. मैं ये
Sir,
हमेशा नहीं हो सकता मैं, yeah.
for low key lightings, how we can find the full range?
Full in low key
Yeah.
lighting. Yeah, there will be, but there will be less amount of mid-tone. There will be mid-tone. It doesn't mean that low key lighting didn't mean that only black and white will be there. Low key lighting didn't mean that there will be the black and white. You need mid-tone. It's not like one side will be black, another side will be dark. There will be the range, but there is a less mid-tone. There's no much separation, but there will be a mid-tone. ऐसा नहीं होगा सिर्फ there will be only black and there is only highlighted area. जैसा कि तुम पुराने black and white film, more black and white film में, you can see those things. Either it will be pure pitch black and there is a pure white. You feel that कि कोई gradation ही नजर नहीं आ रहा है. So that's the reason I told you. You watched Roma, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So low key lighting, there is a high contrast. High contrast between what? High contrast between the range of what? There will be a certain range. Didn't high contrast mean black started and end on the gray? Is it high contrast? Is something that started on black and end on the mid tones? No. So it
Oh,
means
yes.
between black to white, the range will be greater. So that will create a contrast. So in Roma, you feel that many times there's a contrast, but also they use certain range of mid-tones too. But ज़्यादा mid-range use हुआ है. So mid-range to highlights, mid-range to shadows. But in high contrast, there will be less mid-tone
Black
is there.
to white.
Yeah. So there will be
So,
mid-tone. ऐसा नहीं है mid.
for high contrast, the what will be the range?
High contrast?
The range will be from black to white.
Yeah, the range
For
will be
high
black
contrast.
to white. There will be less mid-tone there, right? So that's the reason you feel that there is a high contrast because you only see the black and you only see the white. So that's the reason you feel that there is a much more contrast. If there's a mid-tone, there's a shadow, there's the highlights, each and everything will be there, but range is lower. So as you can see in Roma, is there any image of Roma? One second. I have. One second. I'll show you that one. Give me one second. Let me play it up.
Okay, sir. Later we can see.
I'll show you right now. Yes. So one scene over here. Now here you can see those images what I'm talking about, the whole range. Now you can start it with the pure black. In within one scene, how they used total tonal range of grayscale. Just see to it. Everywhere they mark started from the row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? 0 to 10 K scale by 0 will be the pure black and the 10 will be the pure white. So see to it and see the zone.
Okay, sir.
So what I'm trying to say, there will be high contrast. So think about it. So like a few highlighted range like number 7, number 6 will be not there, but there will be 5, there will be 6, there will be more area of 3, there will be more area of 4, right? So that will create certain contrast between 0 to 10. देख लिया सबने? चलिए. Sorry. There are two sides of use of color in lighting and use of the camera. Color balance refer to the adjusting the video camera to the lighting conditions, while color control refer to the altering the lighting through the use of different lighting units or putting gels on the light. The lighting itself must be color balanced. The two most common standard are daylight balance and tungsten balance, but other balance are possible either using a gray card or a desktop chart or by white balancing. तो basically क्या कह रहा है, कैमरा को जब वाइट बैलेंस करते हैं, कैम लाइटिंग कंडीशंस इफ यू कंपोज थ्रू द वाइट बैलेंस, सो देयर इज अ टू थिंग्स कि व्हाटएवर लाइट दे आर यूजिंग, if you fix your white balance according to the color temperature, if you match it, so you got the proper skin tone, proper colors, right? But if you want to manipulate it, like you want it make warmer, right? You want to make it more cooler. So there are two things. Either through the white balance you can do it, right? Suppose you are shooting on 3200 and you are using the daylight conditions lights, automatically it will become the bluish. Iska सीधा opposite कर दो, it will appear warmer. But the thing is that if you are manipulating with the white balance, the problem is with the every light, it will happen. So if you wanted to create certain contrast with the lights, it won't possible, right? So whole scene will be monotonous. It will be warm or either it will be cool. So the another idea is you can manipulate the lights by putting it gel. You can make it warmer, some light you can make it cooler. So you can make the color balance through the gel also or through the white balance. It's not the wrong answer that through the white balance you can't balance the colors or you can't control the colors, you can't change the colors. So through the white balance too, or you can use gelatin or gel paper to change the color too, right? So that's the things as you can see over here. देखिए, for the same reference there will be the bluish one. Shape camera flat front lighting does not reveal the shape and form of the subject. As earlier I told you, you have seen those your passport size photograph, how flat it is. It tends to flatten everything, but everything out to make the subject almost a cut out. Two-dimensional lighting from the side or back tends to reveal the shape of an object, its external structure and geometrical form. This is important not only for the overall depth of the shot, but it also can reveal character, emotional values, and other clue that may have a story importance. Naturally, it's all also make the image more real, more palpable, more recognizable. This is important not only for each subject in the frame, but to the overall picture as well. Very simple. Like image देखते हैं. Let's see. Does this image look interesting? Other this one also, this can too. See both images. Is there a certain shape or not? Because of the gradation, because of the lighting. If just think about it from this axis, from the lens axis, if you put one more light and make it flatten, what happened? Is there that kind of shape or it's look very flat? Obviously, flat ho jayega na if you use some light from the lens axis. Suppose your camera is over here. From here, you wanted to shoot the side with the camera. So if you are using some another light, what happened? There will be no that kind of shape. It's look very flat. So sometimes you want that. मैं ये नहीं करो कि always you have to create shape and for the every character you have to create it. But it's look dynamic. Right? It's look interesting. And when both images, if you can see over here and here, it's look interesting. Because image made through the what? Shadows, midtone, and highlights. You can see everything in one images. No. Separation. Now the separation we have already discussed. If you are using backlight or background light, it will create a separation. Your character will stand out from the background. That just not look like that your character is merging. For an example, say this one. If there will be no that patch of light is on that board, what happened? Is your character will stand out from the background? Is it possible? So it's create a sense of depth basically. अगर वो नहीं होता, it look like your character is merging through the color. Maybe they will stand out, but not that much. You can say that no, no, तभी तो हो जाएगा. She is wearing yellow, पीछे green है, so standing out. But this is looking more prominent basically. है ना? No. कहा था कि आप जहां भी देख रहे हैं, it's a two-dimensional things. So through the lighting, you can create that dimension that there is a depth. I'll say this image. Does this image look flat? Or is there a certain depth? Because on face 2, there is a certain gradation. It has started from the dark, bright, dark. Again, background is brighter. Sorry. Sorry. One second. The texture, if you guys getting confused, okay, how to create a texture, it's also the example of texture. Ki through the lighting itself, you can create certain texture by mist, fog, or also if you are using certain kind of filters, you can create a texture, right? You guys have seen the Pro Mist filter, how softening it is, right? So different kind of filters create different texture. Through the filters, you can also create. Through the lighting, how can create, you can create texture. So right now you can see it कि how mistiness और वो जो light के ऊपर लगा हुआ है, how through the lighting you are creating texture. And the third one too, कि through the shadows, right? Because when you are doing lighting, shadows also have the certain texture. If you are using different kind of diffusion material, you feel your shadows becoming softening, right? If you are using your candle light, see the shadows, see the texture of shadows. If you are using any like tungsten bulb, see the quality of shadows. If you are using some fluorescent light, see the texture of shadows. In daylight, in lumi cloud, every time if there is a shadows, the texture of shadows is different. So through the lighting also you can create a texture of your shadows. है ना? कि shadows तो होगा, but which kind of it? Is it totally sharp or is very soft, right? Or midway? So which kind of shadow is there through the lighting? You can also do. That's the reason there's a variation of diffusion material because of that texture, right? So you can create lighting itself by lighting itself, or then with the shadows also you can create a texture. So lighting का example, this one is, for example, mood and tone. We can take any particular scene and make it look scary or beautiful. It's very simple. बन सकता है. Whatever the story calls for in connection with use of lens and camera, of course, many tools affect the mood and tone of a scene. Yeah, right. It's not only the lighting through which you can uh, create that mood, basically, through the framing, through the camera movement, through the lensing, but the lighting also a part of it, key how you can convey the story through the lighting. जैसे for an example, if you guys have watched Godfather, अगर Godfather में कुछ ऐसी lighting होती, very flat lighting, this kind of lighting is a Godfather. Suppose करो. What you feel? Do you feel that kind of mysterious things? कैसा लगता? Do you feel if you're watching, you guys have watched the Godfather, no? Or either if you are watching some like Moonrise Kingdom or that kind of films, और ऐसी lighting करते हैं. Do you feel any differences? कोई फर्क पड़ता? कहानी समझ में आ जाता, right? But the thing is that it will not create that kind of mood. कि उस जोनर की फिल्मों का वो मूड ही क्रिएट नहीं कर पाता through the lighting. If you are using very flat light over there, right? So मैं example दिखाता हूँ. Do it. क्या इसमें बहुत सारे इमेज में कुछ हॉरर, कुछ सस्पिशियस ऐसा लग रहा है? Just find out the mood, no? Through the lighting. Image one, how it looks.
Scary.
Scary, horror, जो horror में हम यूज करते, right? This look very unnatural. Unnatural लग रहा है ना? Does it look natural?
That's why unnatural.
It's not natural. It's unnatural because as human beings हमारी जो लाइट होती है हमेशा ऊपर से आती है, right? सो कभी इस टाइप का शेप और साइज हमारा नहीं बनता है कि हमारे शैडोज जो हैं वो नीचे ही आते, ऊपर इस तरीके से नहीं आते हैं, राइट? आपके अपर लिप्स का शैडोज आपके नोज पे जा रहा है, आपके आईज के लिड के शैडोज ऊपर जा रहे हैं, राइट? सो इट्स लुक अननेचुरल. सो दैट्स द रीजन मोस्ट ऑफ द हॉरर मूवीज में देखोगे जब कभी ऐसा कुछ सीन आता है, दे आर यूजिंग लो लाइटिंग, राइट? नीचे लाइट लगा देते हैं, जो फील यार ये काफी अनरियलिस्टिक नहीं लग रहा है, ये रियलिस्टिक नहीं है, राइट? इट्स वेरी अननेचुरल थिंग्स. सो दैट्स द रीजन लग रहा है. सेकेंड वन,
It's very stylized and dramatized.
dramatized किया हुआ because of there's a blue, there's a warm tone, right? So there is certain contrast that they created. Third one is cool, right? ठीक है, बिल्कुल flat light है, nothing drama is there, right? Everything is good. ऐसा ही लग रहा है ना? Fourth one देखिए क्या, it looks suspicious or not,
Yes, sir.
right? So just like that, अब इसके जितने भी images हैं, it's not only about the expression. Is that lighting help to create that mood or not? The style of lighting helping it or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, obviously. So here your answer through the lighting you can also create mood, right? So that 5 point we have discussed. I hope now if you are sorry, writing about the lighting and anything else that we have discussed, these are the points on which you can discuss. Not in every films everything will be there. So few parts you can discuss, but mainly that I wanted to like discuss. If there is a questions, what are the goals of good lighting? Don't get confused. Write down four or five things, the full range of tones, right? To create a shape and dimension, separation to create a depth, texture, or mood or color control. Those are things that you can discuss or you can write. Okay, guys. Anything that you wanted to ask regarding this particular question? So you can ask, otherwise I will just open another PPT. Sorry. No, it's okay. Sorry. Give me 1 minute only this. What is before explaining it, just yeah, say this one, yeah. Yeah, all right, yeah. Does happen. It's not working. Yeah. Because my camera is not working. Okay, let's just start. Okay. What is dynamic range? Basically, it's simple. Dynamic range is everywhere. that if you compare it with the human eye, see the range and see the dynamic range of your image sensor, the digital imaging sensor. So basically, it's just the capacity. Dynamic range is just the capacity to read brightest bright to darkest dark within a scene. It means there will be certain range in terms of grayscale that we have discussed. There is a certain darker area or certain brighter area. So how your camera is able to record at once that darkest dark and brightest bright, what will be the range of it? ये क्या range होगा? Suppose for an example, within your scene, if there is a, for an example, I'm telling you, there is a 10-watt bulb, but there is a 1,000-watt bulb. Are your camera is able to record those intensity at once or not? It means your camera will record it. But the thing is that, is your camera is able to getting texture out of it or not? As in human eye, if you see in outside, right, at the daytime, a brighter daytime, at the same time you can record, you can see the texture of surface of anything that is in shadows area. At the same point of time, you can also see the texture of the character who is in the brighter areas, right? दिखाई देता है दिखाई ना आपको at same point of time, एक ही time पे. But in your camera, what happened? Just for an example, if you are using your phone cameras, the same things has happened. If you expose for the brighter areas, darker area, what happened? Darker area is getting more darker. If you are exposed for the darker area, brighter area started burning out. So because the reason is your camera don't have that much of capacity to record. Your sensor don't have that much of dynamic range to read those elements. So basically dynamic range is nothing. It's just the capacity of to record brightest bright and darkest dark in a scene. Dynamic range is measured in a stop. Or a stop के बारे में we have already discussed that each stop indicate a doubling of the level of brightness captured. Now लिखा while the human eye can see up to 12 stop of dynamic range, even high-end DSLR mirrorless cameras can only record around 14 stop. So 20 stop is far enough. अभी तक कोई कैमरा पहुंचा नहीं है. So now see a full tonal black to white gradation. And now see this one. Is there any difference? And this one, see carefully. Say this one and this one. What's the differences?
The white is decreasing.
Gray to gray gradation has the shorter dynamic range. Is it? Is there shorter dynamic range or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So same thing happened with your phone camera. If you compare your phone camera to your DSLR camera, phone camera have the gray to gray gradation at the shorter dynamic range if you compare it with the DSLR camera. So your camera can record more brighter or more darker area at the same point of time. It's not only about your camera will record only brighter area, the brighter as well as darker. And the difference between darker area to brighter area is how much stop, right? How much stop it will be, and your camera is able to record your even you are getting texture of it. So it means your camera have that much of dynamic range. Just read it once. So basically what is written over there, the greater number of tones between minimum and maximum, it means there's a higher dynamic range. कि आपका सबसे minimum से maximum के बीच में, if there's a maximum differences, it means your camera have the more dynamic range. If in a grayscale, if it will be shorter, it means in terms of radiation, it means your camera have the lower dynamic range. Yeah, dynamic range is most effectively used and apparent when working in a scene with a great deal of inherent contrast. It means there's a two brighter areas, two darker areas. If that kind of area, that kind of scene within your frame, it means you need greater dynamic. You need a camera which have the greater dynamic range. And dynamic range is measured in a stop. So if your camera is 14 stop or 10 stop, how you will measure that? Do you know how to measure the dynamic range? And how we calculate the dynamic range? If there's a 10 stop or 12 stop, do you know how to calculate it? I think earlier I have explained it, so don't need to explain these things. Yeah, Gautam?
Sir, yes, you explained, but
There's a confusion.
yeah,
Does anyone have idea how to calculate it? Let me explain. If you are saying that your camera is 10 stop dynamic range, हम यहाँ आ जाते हैं here. ठीक है. Okay. Now this one, this tone, suppose for an example, or this one. Okay. Let's take an example. Do you know where is a mid gray in this one?
it's almost right, sir.
No, mid gray is in center, right? अब इसमें जाओगे center से थोड़ा सा और आगे आ जाओ, that will be the center area. Or take
Oh,
this one, level. Take this one.
ah,
This area is mid gray.
yes.
So whenever your camera is giving you information, when you are using light meter and your camera is giving you information that you are in center, so it means your image. I told you earlier, your camera is only giving you information about the luminance, that is brightness values. So according to your camera, if that meter is over here in center, it means your image is perfectly in mid-tone or mid-range. It's not over, if right, it's not under in the left. So once your camera is over here, right, according to that center in any exposure, suppose in f8 for an example, or f5.6, just write it down. It will be, remember guys, just write it down. Do you have pen and paper over there? You guys have pen and paper?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For an example, just write it down. Your ISO is 400. Your shutter speed is 1/50th, right? And your aperture is 5.6. When your aperture is 5.6, you are perfectly exposed. It means you are in center, you are in mid-tone, right? So now in this setting, your camera is perfectly exposed, right? For the skin only. But there's a many things in your frame that there's a brighter area, there's a few darker areas, right? In background, there's a character, there's a less amount of light, right? In foreground, there is something where there's a more amount of light. There's something that is whiter, right? So that kind of things, there's a variation of intensity within a scene. So suppose you have to record all those things, or either you are recording it in the outside, so there's a daylight, so some shadows area, your character in the shadows area, right? So your character at 5.6 is exposed, but the background, because daylight is falling over it, it's a start burning, right? So now your camera have the 10 stop. So how much detail your camera can capture, right? 10 stop means from 5.6, already you are in, at 5.6 you are in mid-gray range. So your camera have capacity to read brightest bright and darkest dark if that brightest bright and darkest dark have the 10 stop differences. So your 5.6 started from here. 10 stop means 4 stop above the 5.6 if there is a brighter zone, and the 5 stop from the shadows area. So it means 5.6 se badhte jaiye. If you are, there is a more light over there, 5.6. Next stop is 8, right? Second is 11. Third is 16. Fourth is 22, right? लिखते जा रहे हो? 8, 11, 16, 22. This is the 4 stop. लिख लिया सबने?
Yes, sir.
5.6 से और भी लाइटिंग है जहां पर और भी एरिया है विच इज मोर ब्राइटर, दिस इज शोइंग F8, F11, F16, F22. 4 हो गया. अब there is a shadows area in which you wanted the detail of it, right? So 5.6 से क्या हो जाएगा? 4. 4 से क्या होगा? 2.8. 2.8 से क्या होगा? 2. 2 से क्या होगा? 1.4. 1.4 से क्या होगा? 1. So it means if your camera have the dynamic range is 10 stop and you are shooting on 5.6, if you if within your scene, if there is a something that is on 1 or there is something at 22, it means your camera can record from 1 to 22 if you are shooting on 5.6. It's less in the brighter area or more in the shadows area your digital camera is recording. So that's the reason. If you are recording something by कहीं पर भी गूगल पे पढ़ोगे, कहीं भी पढ़ोगे, तो the written over there, don't shoot over bright, right? Just shoot half and a stop in shadows area, half and a stop darker. The reason your camera have, your digital camera have in terms of dynamic range, there's a more detail in shadows area your camera can capture, right? So that's the reason the 4 stop will be for the highlighted area and the 5 stop for the shadows area your camera can capture. Because everywhere in your scene, do you feel that everywhere there will be the same amount of light? Is it possible? So it look flat, right? Within a scene, if everywhere there is a 5.6, 5.6, the light there, how it looks? It's look very flat, right? So within a scene, if you are shooting on 5.6, your camera have the 10 stop of dynamic range, so you can record, your camera is able to record 1 to 22. It means the anything that will be visible, that will get texture on 1, your camera is recording that texture. It will not dark, it will not appear black. If something that is 22, your camera will not record it as in burning things. There will be detail of it. As I have earlier showed you that the Roma का shot दिखाया था अभी मैंने आपको, right? Do you feel anything is that very dark in that zone कि जिसका texture नहीं था, or anything something that is very burning? You can even at 10 you can even feel
No.
bit texture, right? At the 9, 8, 7, 6 you can feel the texture because that camera have that much of dynamic range to record those things. So that's one reason. कभी भी in Roma में overexpose या underexpose आपको नहीं दिखा होगा. Even when then वो जो उसका बच्चा बह जाता है पानी में, what the shot is called, अरे यार, what it called when वो जो उसका बच्चा जब पानी में चला जाता है, कौन सा सीन है वो? The scene it was I just forget the scene name, yeah. Whatever. So they shooted it twice. Once they set their camera according to the वो जो पानी में चीजें हो रही थी वहां का रिकॉर्ड करने, they shooted their exposure according to that, and again they shooted with the same camera positioning and they set their exposure for the sky. So that's the reason जब dissolve किया, so you feel that कि ना sky burn कर रहा है ना ये character under exposed है, because they wanted to shoot within the dynamic range.
The first scene, sir.
First scene it was.
Yeah, the water, the sky will be reflected.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
not the
it's
water, sky. No, not that scene. When he saved that child from
What's the, can you repeat?
the shot, I just forget the shot name. Yeah, let me figure it out.
Okay, sir. Later you can say. So why that you have mentioned the 5.6 here?
Yeah.
5.6
No,
means it's
I just took an example of 5.6.
okay, okay, okay.
If you wanted to shoot on 8, right? Suppose for an example, if you wanted to shoot on 8, right?
Mm.
So for an
So
example, so now your camera
so
can
we
record 11, 16,
so
22, 32.
okay.
But here your camera can only record till 1.4. If something that is 1 in your frame, your camera will not record it. It will record it, but will not get the texture of it. Because here you just shooted on 8. So what happened in shadows area, you are losing one detail. If your scene have, right? Because since 8, what will be the 5 stop? 5.6, 4, 2.8, 2, 1.4, right? You have to stop over here at 1.4, right? Are you able to record more than 1.4? In
No,
5 stop, you are shooting on 8. Are you able to record?
no.
So if your scene have more highlighted area, you can use higher number. If you have the less areas, you can lower number. So you'll get more of it. So it's totally depend how to use it, which kind of the contrast, which kind of lighting situations within your scene, which kind of dynamic range in your frame is. It's totally depend upon that. Okay, what aperture you are using. So I think for everyone, is it clear the dynamic range? Okay, now see. अभी यहाँ देखते हैं. Let's see this image, right? Same image, this one. Same image, this one. This one. चलो start कर. Is it perfectly exposed? Is it
No, sir.
perfectly exposed? No. Is it?
No.
In this one, the foreground is darker. In this one, foreground is properly exposed, but the background is overexposed. It means your camera don't have that much of capacity to record it, right? Now this one, bit composed nearby. Or this one, sorry, third one. Now you are getting texture from a sky. See the difference
Yeah,
here, the sky, here, the sky, here, here.
yeah.
You
Improve.
are getting it. So basically, when you are over here, if your camera don't have of that much of dynamic range, if you abhi now you got your answer. If you have to suppose karo, it's the brighter area, right? Got it? Now you recently you just asked me now if I have shoot another, why we are choosing f8 or 5.6. Now to get the texture of this sky, if you have to shoot on f8, right? F number बढ़ाना पड़ेगा ना? To get less amount of light, you have to increase the f number, right? Then you are able to get this one. Then you get this kind of a sky and texture, no? If you increase the f number. Now, if you are increase the f number, what happened? Now you can see this area will be darker, right? Because your camera don't have that much of dynamic range. If your camera have that much of dynamic range, your camera can record like this. Your camera can record like this. So you have seen in your phone and many things, there's HDR, high dynamic range processing, right? Composition hota hai. So in HDR mode, what your camera did, your camera don't have that much of dynamic range. So what your camera did, your camera firstly click one images for the underexposed area. Then they click another image for the overexposed area. Now they blend it and you got that at the same point of time, you are getting your image in dynamic range. The reason is they just composite it. They are using two images in different two exposure, right? If you guys have using Canon cameras, have you seen that auto exposure bracketing? Does anyone have used that features, auto exposure bracketing? यूज किया है किसी ने? नहीं किया है, चलिए कोई बात नहीं. सो दैट्स बेसिकली इट्स दिस द एसडीआर मोड. अगर आप फोन में भी होगा, यू गाइस कैन सी इट कि जब आप कैप्चर करने लगो कहेगा डोंट मूव द कैमरा, डोंट हैव द कैमरा, डोंट पैन द कैमरा. The reason they need to process the camera, they need to composite the images. So basically, your camera is taking two images and they just composite it. So you feel that there's a great detail of it, right? So that's the SDR mode. These features I'm talking about. And this feature, what your camera did basically, +1 0 minus. So it's depend upon your camera features, how much a stop it is. So if you are using auto exposure bracketing, it means your camera at once will record three images at one according to your light meter, whatever will be in center, one image like that, one image for the overexposed, one image for the underexposed. If you are shooting on tripod for the same scene, you are getting three images. In post-production, you can composite it and you will get a great dynamic range. At once you will got that. So I don't think इसको ज़्यादा detail में करते. If your camera have, you are using it, so you guys can use it. I know. So okay, take a short break. It's 10 right now, and we'll discuss that. Two guys have sent me photographs, so we'll discuss the photograph and the Roma one. Okay. So guys, take a short break. We'll resume the class by 10:20. Okay. Aditya, it's you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It too. One more guy has sent it to me. If you wanted to guys read, you can read it. I'll explain. Okay, right over here. Composition are maintained throughout the film movie. Mostly the rule of third frame within a frame, leading line, diagonals, vertical, and horizontal. Cleo was mostly placed inside the frame within a frame composition to show her alienation from the rest of the family of her employers, even though she was well adored by everyone at the house, but she was not placed inside a frame when she was with her boyfriend. The little kids and the other maid in the house. But towards the end of the movie, she was free from the frames as she left. She felt being a part of the family. Okay. Okay, Aditya, in your first stage, when you are talking about the composition, right? You talked about the whatever within the frame and whatever like the leading lines, whatever the compositions that they have used, you used everything. Don't need to write that much of elements. If you know something particular scene, right? Like the Cleo characters, how the framing for that particular characters, how the camera angle, how she frame, and through the framing, what director wanted to tell or what cinematographer wanted to convey, right? Which kind of emotion that they wanted to portray through that particular framing, right? Either it will be framed within the frame, either she is not getting centered frame, why she is side of the frame, or either when she is within the frame, right? So you have to explain that elements, what the psychological reason behind it, right? What's the aesthetic behind it? Which kind of emotion through that particular camera angle DOP wanted to create, which kind of mood through that particular composition that DOP wanted to create, or whatever you learn from that particular composition. Yeah, you use few words like towards the end of the movie, she was free from the frames as she felt being a part of the family, right? वो अपने boyfriend को छोड़ता है, वो अपने husband को छोड़ता है, but which kind of emotion that through particular composition they convey, right? So you must have to be focused on that particular areas once you are talking about the composition कि उस पर्टिकुलर कंपोजिशन से इम्पैक्ट क्या पड़ा आपके स्टोरी पे और कैरेक्टर के मूड पे, राइट? सो हियर यू write it, you observe it well, but the things is that you must have to explain. Second point, naturalize is more often even when the interior says the house clear is working, plenty of windows panel which allow natural light to flow in. This places the movie close to reality. Take care, that's okay. Most shots are placed within the eye level except a very few low and high angle shots. Although the movie has many eye level shots, the last shot was a slow tilt up or clear ascending the stairs of his house to hang the clothes to dry. This shows the upliftment in her power dynamics. Yeah, that's the right things. That's you right over there. Currently, we also see a fly by in the far distance in the same shot. She has found her piece of happiness. Right. The third point is good that the tilting shot, the upliftment of through the the mental power that's showing through those things and वो stair पे चढ़ भी रही है. So that's the third point is good. So dominating the entire movie, there were a few tracking shots and no shot was done handheld. This I believe was to bring a documentary feel to the movie and to merge it close to reality since it was from the real childhood memories of the director itself. Yeah, that's right. Chalo. Use most wide angle lenses. This is to get the maximum area that was character occupied to. So the space of living, this choice of much appreciated when the family goes on the celebrate New Year at the home the festival mode of the family. Okay. But wide angle have just watch it once and see what's the significance of using wide angle lenses or normal lenses. Just see to it in particular areas, right? In particular frame, which kind of frame it was, right? And also you can see it's not about the normal lens and wide angle lenses, which kind of frame, right? If you started writing about the lensing, you must have to take few example of few shots, few particular shots, a few particular scene, right? And you need to explain that. In the scene where the martial art training is taking place, we see the master perform a one-leg stand in one medium shot of him doing the one-leg stand. He raises both his hand and touches each other. Willpower to survive what is coming her way. Yeah, that's fifth point also right. In the same way, the breakout in a few people from the move follow two peaceful at the first. And then an unknown. That's good. Focus on the yeah. Your last line is also good.
Thank you, sir.
The thing is that now how to start writing on these points, right? Okay, you just took few example for the lighting, right? Just took few example for the framing, right? Then few example for the like camera movement. Then take few example for the lensing, right? So what happened? At least if you have the 4 or 5 points, you have 10 example of it, right? So that will be you will not repeat those elements again and again, right? So somehow they
Uh,
also use a metaphor, so you can explain that point also. And once you have started writing in this way, no, you can do one more thing. As I have shown you guys earlier, no, that the frame. Take a frame graph from films and just write about that films. If you have started lighting, writing about the lightings, take one frame on which you have started writing. So what happened? You got an idea to what is inside the frame. For the framing, you just took another shots, a different shots that you can put over there and you can explain it. Yeah, let me know. क्या कहता हूँ
uh,
कुछ कह रहे थे आप
Excuse me, sir.
your voice is your voice is not audible.
Hello.
हाँ yeah गौतम
Sir, is it possible to write this much during examination?
yeah how much word it is. Let's check it out how much word it is.
It's
If it is a
almost
10 mark, if
820 word.
how much?
820.
820, no, not that much. 300 to 400. You have to shorten it out. No? So that's the reason I told you. Just write about the 4 or 5 points only. You are repeating something now over here. You are repeating 3 or 4 things. That's not necessary. 2 or 3 points. Point number 3 or 4 is not. You can avoid that points also because you are not explaining that why they are using this kind of framing, why they are using this kind. And 3 or 4 times you are just explaining the framing only. So once you explain one frame or two frame, just write about the another elements, right? Not repeat those things.
Yeah.
Once you start writing the frame, give an example of one or two frame, then you can start writing about the lighting, about the composition. That's the things on it. So because first time you are writing it down, so uh, Gautam Asoka.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
there's a two Gautam, right? Oh,
No.
that's
It's me. Only one.
okay. You send me two PPTs. You have sent me two
No. The
PPTs.
previous one was
The
Aditya.
pointers only about that. So और किसने भेजा था कल कोई कह रहा था कि मैंने भेजा कल कोई कह रहा था नथिंग सागर आज नहीं है शायद सागर नहीं है सागर there? No.
यस सर।
सागर हो आप
हाँ सर।
हाँ तो आपने भेजा था क्या रोमा का
नो सर, आई हैव नॉट सेंड इट।
सागर ने मुझे क्या भेजा वन सेकंड ah sorry आपने कौन सा फॉर्मेट भेजा है अपने उसका फोटोग्राफ का
सर इट इज अ पीडीएफ सर।
ये पीडीएफ बट ये पीडीएफ तो है नहीं कुछ और है ये ओपन नहीं हो रहा मेरे सिस्टम में इट्स नॉट ओपनिंग इट्स नॉट ओपन नहीं हो रहा सागर ये प्रॉब्लम लेट्स सी नहीं हो रहा है बट चलिए आप एक काम कीजिए मुझे मेरा नंबर है आपके पास
सर आई फिट।
मुझे पर्सनली नंबर व्हाट्सएप कर दीजिए वो फोटोज I'll share and I'll discuss it so yesterday I've given a topic on rhythm right and literally थोड़ा सा मैंने explain किया था so now I'll discuss on it and then I will go with the pictures
Sir, can you share your opinion regarding Roma?
yeah I will share that one I will share that PPT that I'll share it to you but that will take time so in next class I will discuss the whole things that what I have written on it right the next classes I will explain it so for the rhythm here is a few example of rhythm on which I discussed those images so already I have told you guys what is rhythm
Sir,
is yeah
uh, we are not. I think I am. We are not able to see.
you're not able to see 1 second yes what happened it will here 1 second is it visible
Yes, sir.
yeah okay so here a few example of rhythm then we'll discuss the two photograph that you have sent to me so what is rhythm is yeah rhythm consists of successive pattern in which the same elements reappear in regular order right regular order means it may be I told you about the tempo it could be shorter but it will repeat it in regular order कि अगर छोटा भी होते जाए तो एक order में होते हुए जा रहा है it's not like कि एक बड़ा एक छोटा है फिर छोटा हो गया फिर बड़ा हो गया it's not like that so regular order में वो चीजें जाएंगी जैसे कि फॉर एन एग्जांपल अभी मैं बता देता हूँ अभी क्या हो रहा है is size is decreasing or not but in regular order is it
Yes, sir.
size is not same but एक सक्सेसिव पैटर्न है वहां पर एंड सर रिपीटेशन भी है सो ये आंसर क्या क्या है यहाँ पर इन रिदम देयर इज अ रिपीटेशन देयर alteration and there is a tempo So ये जो पैटर्न चल के आ रहा है और यहाँ जो बेसिकली लिखा हुआ है, क्या लिखा हुआ है? In regular order. So that is regular order basically. Rhythm in photography refer to the way in which the eye look at an image. If there is only one element to look at in the frame, the rhythm is pretty simple and quiet. It focuses on one thing only. When more elements are added, the photography rhythm changes, increases speed up a little, just like music. If there is a one elements basically, for an example, ये ले लेते हैं. See. Yours. Sorry. So this example. There is a rhythm, but it's look very static. Rhythm है ना यहाँ पर hand का gesture. See the another hand's gesture and whatever he is holding in his hand. It's a rhythmic, but it's very low, right? Because there is no successive pattern of it, but through the hand gestures and whatever he is holding in his hand, that's create a certain rhythmic movement. But it's not that much dynamic, but हाँ rhythm कहीं ना कहीं लग रहा है. And another one. इसमें देख लीजिए. एक पैटर्न तो जा रहा है, लाइन तो जा रहा है, बट फिर भी रिदम क्रिएट नहीं हो रहा है. And third one. Now there's a two elements in your frame. See the hat and हैट का और ये जो आपका बोट है वो जो कॉर्नर है, दोनों कॉर्नर्स कुछ सेंस क्रिएट कर रहा है रिदम का.
Yes, sir.
In the one corner to another corner you feel that because अगर if there will be no light, अगर लाइट नहीं होता तो ये काम नहीं होता. फिर if there is a light so you are able to see the shape of it, right? So that's complementing from the another shape जो वहां पर भी बन रहा है, that arc, right? So it's look like it's a repetitive things. So it's creating the sense of rhythm. No, this one. इसमें क्या है? Look carefully. Sorry. यार मेरे कैमरे को क्या हुआ है? मेरा कैमरा पॉज दिखा रहा है ना तुम लोगों को? क्या हुआ है यार? Anyone who can explain this image?
Sir, it has high count.
It's just explain how you feel. Is there rhythm or not? Is there rhythm or not?
No.
There's no rhythm. Anyone else?
Sir, there is rhythm.
There is a rhythm. How you feel that there is a rhythm?
Because of the shape of the legs, sir. Those two boys have the same shape of legs. It creates a sense of rhythm.
And what about the bat?
Yes, sir. Same with the bat. It gives like leading like line thing.
The person who is in background? एक पर्सन फिर भी बैकग्राउंड में है, काफी स्मॉल अपियर हो रहा है उस पर्सन पे.
Yes, sir.
What about it?
All the three on the bat was is almost in silhouette, so it forms a rhythm.
It's on the rhythm, right? See the posture of the character, see the bat, right? See the other person, another the same posture with the person who is in background. So this create a sense of rhythm basically. Say this one. It's very simple things. Another one. Again, it's rhythmic. इसमें सब कुछ मिल रहा है आपको, right? So these are the example of rhythm basically, and so that's the reason we got two images, and I'll discuss on it. One second. Yeah, Gotham. It's your image, right? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. It's
Okay. Yeah, there's a rhythm. The reason is why there is a rhythm.
the pillars.
That pillars have the highlights, and you see that the repetition of the things, right?
Yeah.
But you need to crop these images because more of the area is very dark in foreground, right? You just crop it
Yeah,
and stay to it, right? Just make it zoom in bit.
yeah,
Now
I
see
saw.
this of this image. Now see this image. Why you use that much of negative areas? There's a no light. Just try to crop it. Now see the differences in your
Yeah, sir. There's
previous.
this image was taken, I think, 2 to 3 years back in a mobile.
So you need to crop it. No, it's in rhythm. It's in rhythm. Because there is a successive pattern, right? And you know that the difference between one to another is visible. So the both things over there, the repetition, alteration, and the tempo. Other one is other. Yeah, that's why it's rhythmic. Because of the structure of the trees, right?
Yes.
The other things. And also the sideway make your frame balanced. You don't know sides, so pipes or something else is there, so make the things balanced. Right. So again, I'm again telling you guys, this is okay because you wanted to shoot these things, but most of the time try to shoot horizontally. Vertical है ठीक है because you wanted to capture those things. So it's okay. But yeah, but just look rhythmic. Because of the structure of the tree. Right. तो आपका इमेज मेरे पास है सागर. Yeah, your first image जो आपका है, जो bridge के structures हैं, that is rhythmic. It's very simple because same things is over there. The successive pattern वो repeat हो रहा है आपका, so it's create a sense of rhythm. बेसिकली रिदम का मतलब क्या है कि ये समझ लो कि ये नहीं लगा देयर इज अनदर थिंग्स दैट इज आल्सो तुम्हारा सेंटर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट उसी स्ट्रक्चर से कनेक्ट होते जाएगा, राइट? So that's the sense of rhythm. कि कहीं से डिस्कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहे, किसी दूसरी जगह नहीं जा रहे, देयर इज ओनली वन थिंग, और उसी का रिपीटेशन चल रहा है. सेकेंड इमेज जो तुम्हारा है वो इट्स मोर अबाउट rhythm than the its line basically. The vertical line में इसे consider करोगे, this is about the line because both side have the different contrast due to color, right?
Yes, sir.
And one more thing again, मैंने कहा कि in your composition there must be alteration. Is there alteration? No. Alteration है भी तो there is very low contrast, right? So कल जो हम बात कर रहे थे एजेस की लाइन की, right? इसमें क्या दिख रहा है आपके लेफ्ट हैंड साइड वाले ब्लू वाले में? नहीं दिख रहा ना. क्या हो रहा है? ठीक है, पैटर्न है वहां पर, बट इफ जस्ट थिंक अबाउट इट, इन एवरी पैटर्न इफ देयर इज अनदर डिफरेंट कलर विल बी देयर, क्या होता फिर? ये होता है नहीं होता? फिर आपका रिदम दिखता ना कि ब्लू येलो ब्लू येलो ब्लू येलो, अल्टरेशन रिपीटेशन ये चल रहा है. यहां पर शेप इज डिफरेंट बट शेप प्रोमिनेंट नहीं हो रहा है, राइट? शेप खुल के आ रहा है यहाँ पर?
नहीं सर.
नहीं आ रहा ना. सो काफी मोनोटोनियस हो रहा है. तो जब तक रिपीटेशन अल्टरेशन नहीं होगा, एक ही जैसा हो गया, तो बहुत मोनोटोनियस नहीं हो रहा है वो. सो जो आप दिखाना चाह रहे हो उसमें है, बट द रीजन ड्यू टू कलर वो निकल के नहीं आ रहा है ना. दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम विद दिस कंपोजिशन, है ना. ये प्रॉब्लम है इस कंपोजिशन के साथ, है ना.
Yes, sir.
बाकी ओके गाइस, इफ एनीथिंग दैट यू वांटेड टू आस्क, ये पूछ लीजिए आप लोग. एंड
You have shared
So,
a few pictures on your mail too, if you can check
yeah,
those.
when you send it to me.
The right now in the break, I thought that we have to click them right now. People are sharing older pictures too, but I went today evening, so I just
No,
got
no, no.
late.
But you have to click. So if guys have said older, click. That's their choice. But what I want whatever I explain it to you, just go and capture it, and we're able to discuss on it. So your topic was rhythm, right? So you capture this
Yes, sir.
images. Okay. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Again, I'll let you know that ठीक है, अभी first time you don't know those things. So try to send me whatever assignment that I have given it to you guys before classes. By 4 p.m. you have to send it to me. So I have to
Yes, sir.
download it. I have to make PDF, or either you just send me the PDF by 4, so मुझे बनाना नहीं पड़ेगा और वो.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So that will be it.
Sorry, sir, I
Shubha,
did not
you.
know.
It's okay. It's okay. Just 1 second. Okay. The LED bulb making those pattern, right? Rhythmic.
Yes, sir.
But the things like that, yeah, it's making rhythm. But the things is that in terms of your look at your composition, there's a more negative areas in right hand side. Your frame is totally
Yes, sir.
unbalanced. You need little bit more area that should be, the more light should be inside. अभी आपके राइट में कुछ हाईलाइट हो रहा था, क्या है ये?
कहाँ पर सर?
राइट जहां मेरा कर्सर है, क्या है ये? What it is? So
नहीं,
there is a sense of rhythm, but more than sense of rhythm, it's create a line basically. In composition, it's create a line. है ना? ये हो रहा है आपका.
Right,
और
sir.
बहुत सारा एरिया जो है वो नेगेटिव है, बहुत सारा एरिया. Now, yeah. Again, just get closer to it and see the differences. See the differences. Because in foreground, do you want to show something? Whatever negative area is in foreground, is it important for you? No,
No,
right?
sir.
That area is, there's no importance of that area. If something, some flower or something will be in foreground, maybe you can consider it. We can consider it. Okay, you want to make a relationship between foreground and the background. Some seeds or some other color flower is over there, right? But that area is totally dark. So whatever in your foreground, right? Try to use those areas. If there's a negative area, just get closer to it.
Okay,
So
sir.
in this one, there's a, in terms of rhythm, it's a kind of, अगर rhythm में देखो, rhythm में नहीं आ रहा है ये. Because there's a many elements in terms of color, there's a many colors, right? In terms of pattern, this side there's a different kind of pattern over here. This side there's a, अगर visual balance देखोगे, your right side is more vibrant than your left side, right? So rhythm का मतलब within a frame एक चीज से ही connection बना हुआ रहे, in the single elements. इसमें क्या, there is a many
Okay,
more
sir.
elements. अगर आपका यही होता ना, येलो व्हाइट एंड दैट वन, जो पर्पल
Yes,
कलर
sir.
है,
Yes,
इसके
sir.
ही रिपीटेशन होते तो इट विल मेक सेंस ऑफ रिदम. बट इसमें
Right,
बहुत
sir.
सारे एलिमेंट्स आ रहे हैं. अब आप क्या करते, ये कैसे रिदम बन सकता था? I'll let you know that. ये definitely, one second. Sure. Just getting closer to it. Show you rhythm. तो इसको थोड़े से टॉप एंगल से करोगे, इट विल मेक रिदम. बनाएगा?
Yes, sir. बनाएगा.
Yeah, that's the things ना, because don't get, अच्छा आपका डे वन का ना वो चैनल देख लेना, यूट्यूब देख लेना. when we are talking about the composition, what should be inside, that's important, what should be not, that's more. So we have discussed on it कि आपका जो सेंटर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है वो बना हुआ होना चाहिए. तो ये कंपोजिशन गुजरिए, बहुत अच्छा कंपोजिशन हो जाता. इस पर्सन पे थोड़ी सी लाइट आती, हल्का सा एंगल आप और चेंज करते, राइट?
Right,
तो
sir.
अच्छा कंपोजिशन, right? Because the highlights that is making on coconut nuts, it's very interesting. It's create a shape. बहुत highlights काफी अच्छे लग रहे हैं उस पे. Even with the background, this area, अगर मैं इसको दिखाऊं, वो भी काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है. Oh shit, क्या हुआ? हट गया क्या? दिख रहा है आपको? I'm talking about this area. अरे कहाँ गया यार? ये कर्सर दिख रहा है?
Right, sir.
Yeah, this one. चलो ठीक है, for the first time, कोई बात नहीं है. तो sorry guys. Thanks. For the next week, I'm giving you assignment, guys. That is, you have to watch films Rashomon.
So already you have said contempt.
Contempt देखा है? अच्छा, contempt है ना? Contempt दे रखा है ना? Right. So write down about the contempt. And in photography, uh, in photography, your topic is celebration. It's not the composition. In your composition, you have to show celebration. It could be anything. Someone is dancing, someone is doing anything it could be. Right? But in your photograph, there should be celebration. The topic is celebration. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next week, whenever there will be the classes in the Sunday, so the Sunday before 4, just send me those photographs on celebration. And on Monday, we'll discuss the film content. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. See you next week. And good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Good night. Yeah, guys. Welcome to you. Welcome. Welcome.